Okay, so I wanted to hop on and kind of do a kind of an update on how my habit tracking has been going and how I've been doing and kind of trying to get my life together, get caught up with work and school, and get in a good routine to where I'm not feeling just like stressed and anxious all the time. And I feel like it's been going pretty well. So this may not look like the greatest, but if you go back to my last video at the beginning of April, this is definitely an improvement. And in that last video, I kind of went through, I really started this kind of in December and tried to start getting on track in January, and it's just kind of evolved every month. I've been trying to figure out what works for me and what doesn't, and I think doing that has been working pretty well. I feel like I'm finally getting to a pretty good place. And so I guess we'll just review last month's tracker. So I had mentioned in the last video that my big goal, like I figured that I could get at least these first few things down to this journal. That was my major goal, was just to get that consistent, get my morning routine consistent. And I was able to do that pretty well. So this first one is waking up at 5 a.m. or before 5 a.m. And I did that pretty much every single day. The only days that I didn't were on the weekends. And then I'm not sure what happened this Thursday, but I woke up at 5:30, so not that bad. And so I've been kind of writing the times that I wake up on the days that I don't. But I have, like, on the weekends just been giving myself a little bit extra time to sleep in. I don't know if I'll keep doing that. I do want to try to get consistent, so we'll see. I'm just gonna play it how I feel it. Like, if it's Saturday and I feel like I want to sleep in, I'll sleep in. But I think I do want to try to get up at 5 every day and just keep it consistent. The other thing that I did was try to get 7,000 steps every day, and I did that every day except for this day, which was a Sunday. And again, I'm not really sure what happened. I think I just wanted to sleep in. I think I may have had some homework to do or something that day, and I just said, you know what, I don't really feel like going to the gym, and that's okay. So yeah, I didn't even do my thrusters or planks. I don't know what my deal was that day, but I did do this kind of sideways thing. It says yogi mat. It's a video that I watch on YouTube, and the guy calls himself Yogi Mat, and it's like a 15-minute stretch video, and it's like my favorite stretch video. And I used to do it every single day, but I haven't been doing it. I haven't really built it into this morning routine, but I've been doing it occasionally again. So that day I just said, you know what, I'm not gonna go to the gym. I don't feel like going to the gym, but I will do my stretch video. And so, you know, I did do some movement, you know, or whatever, how people say. Yeah, the other thing, okay, so these were the thrusters, planks, and squats. So, you know, normally I wake up at 5 a.m., I go to the gym, I come back, and then I have kind of a little extra home workout that I do where I just do 3 sets of 10 hip thrusters. I will do a 1-minute plank, and then I'll do 20 squats. And I talked about in the last video with the squats, and with some of this, I kind of brought down the reps because I wanted to make it something that I didn't dread doing. And so yeah, this has gone really well. Like the 3 sets of 10, I'm fine doing that. There's some days that I want to do it less than others, but it's not unbearable. Like I haven't had that feeling of like, ugh, I totally don't want to do this. Like, I'm like, let's just do it. With the squats, one thing I can say, I've been doing only 20 where I was doing 25, and there was a time like a year or two ago that I did this like squat thing where I was kind of like building up to doing a whole bunch of squats. I built up to like 250 squats at once, and I prefer the 20 squats at a time, actually. And what I've really been doing is focusing on my form, and so now I'm doing 20 squats, and I've been holding on to like these legs of my desk when I do it, just to be able to get like really low in the squats and just try to build, I don't know what the terminology is for it, but to get more depth to where I'm going lower, but I wanted to do it with good form, so I've just been doing it like holding on to these legs of my desk to kind of keep me more upright as I do it, because I would like feel like I would fall backwards if I would go too low in the squat, so I wasn't going super low. But with that, I would go like basically all the way down. And just this past week, I've been like kind of trying to hold on to the desk less, or I've been doing that, but this week I've gotten to where I can do them without holding on to the desk. And so I'm still only doing 20 squats, but by like kind of doing that, it's making it a little bit tougher and kind of like progressing it a little bit. So I feel great about this. And like I said last time, and I tell my roommate this, I'm like, I know it's not showing yet, but I'm telling you, I can feel a difference. I can't really like, and I'm shocked whenever I look in the mirror because I feel so much of a difference. Like, I feel like my legs and my butt are more toned, but I am not seeing it visually. But I'm just like, man, if I was to get on a diet, I'm telling you, if I lost like 10 pounds, it would look really good. But it's just, I've got the exercise component down. I think the next thing is going to be getting the diet component down, and then I want to bump up the workouts a little bit when I'm caught up with school, when I'm caught up with work, and when I have time. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to jump into it too fast and burn myself out on it. I want to try to build up to it this time, because I have a tendency to just go all in on things and burn myself out on them and not follow through with them. So I'm trying to not do that. That's kind of the whole point of all this. And so I do have a goal of at some point in the future, preferably before I'm 40, or maybe the year I turn 40. I don't know. I want to do a bodybuilding competition. And so I'm just kind of trying to slowly build habits that when I am ready to like really commit to competing, that I'll already have kind of this baseline of habits built. So I think the steps is one step towards that. Doing this like lower body workout every day, just kind of this easy one, keeping that baseline. I think that's going to help. And then, yeah, I've got another thing I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But that's been going well. I mentioned that I want to be a plant mom. I would love to be able to grow food, but that's another thing that I've jumped into multiple times. I've got in my head like, yes, I'm going to have a garden. I'm going to grow my own food. And then that's fallen through. And then at one point I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just try wheatgrass. And I got really into like growing wheatgrass for like a couple of weeks. And then it just like felt like a burden to me. So I've got some houseplants now, and my houseplants have actually grown in number, but they're still manageable. And every day after I do my little leg workout, the next thing I do is I go and check my plants. I make sure they're watered. The next thing I really need to do is to like look up what kind of plants they are and see what else they need besides water and like basic pruning, because I feel like it's probably about the time to fertilize some of them. But anyway, I'm at least checking on them every day. So once I do get in the mindset that I really want to have plants that thrive, I've at least built in checking the plants every day into my routine. The journal thing, I talked about that before. That is my kind of like introspective journal that I have that has the prompts. Again, I'm still really loving it. I'm actually surprised that I've done it every single day, that I've stuck to it this long. I've done it pretty much every day since the start of the year. I think there was maybe just 2 or 3 days that I missed. I really love it, just because it's, I don't know, it's just something that I feel like I accomplish something every day, and it gets my brain going every day. And just, you know, again, like every page has like a quote, and then generally has like a writing prompt at the top that relates to the quote. And like I said before, I've struggled with things like this before. I've struggled with journaling every day because sometimes I just don't know what to write every day in a journal. And I feel like sometimes I'm just writing the same thing over and over again, or, you know, I felt like this helps me get a little bit further into my thinking about myself than I was getting just trying to journal, if that makes sense. And yeah, like just the way that I've stuck with it because I've tried things like this before and I've stopped, but the way I've stuck with it this time is I have like I have a YouTube playlist that I put on in the morning, and so it's kind of timed, like loosely timed, and so I'll put on the little meditation music, and it only lasts for like, 10 minutes, and so once that music's done, it moves into a meditation. So I'm like, okay, like a guided meditation. So I'm like, okay, I've got to finish this up before the guided meditation starts, and so I have like a time limit, I have a space limit, I only write like what's on this page, and then I move on, and I don't stress too hard about what I'm writing about. I don't think about like, is it the right answer? Some of these questions, I get to them and I'm like, I have no idea how to answer this. And so I just start writing like whatever's coming to my mind, whether it relates to the question or not. Normally it does relate, almost always it relates to the question, but just whatever. I don't stress too much about it. Like, I tend to be a perfectionist and try to stress too much. And so this is kind of, I think, helping me to get out of that and just do it, and I think that's helping me not only with like thinking more deeply about myself, based on these prompts, but then also just getting started on things at work, because sometimes when I'm stuck on a question at work, I'm just kind of like, it doesn't matter, like just start writing and just see what happens, and if it's not perfect, it's fine, so I think it's kind of helping me get over my perfectionism a little bit. But yeah, I definitely recommend this. I got it at Walmart, and I tried to look and buy it from the publisher is Piccadilly, but I didn't see it on their website. I think they have some on Amazon too, but I didn't see this specific one. The only place I found this is at Walmart. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. My roommate actually just got one, and so we'll see how this goes. Like, he's kind of like me. He'll get into habits and then he'll kind of fall off of them. But for the past couple of weeks, we've been syncing up our morning routines. And so like, I'll come back from the gym and I'll make us both coffee, and then that's when he'll wake up. He'll stay in bed until I get back from the gym, and then I'll make coffee and put on my news, and then he generally wakes up, and we'll finish listening to like this little news show, and then I'll put on my meditation music, and then we'll both kind of write in our journal and then get the day started. So yeah, I've been keeping up with this, and hopefully I finish it out. It doesn't have 365 prompts, so I will finish it up before the end of the year. And then I've got some ideas of what I'm gonna do next to kind of take the place of this. Something different that I've been wanting to do. But anyway, definitely recommend something like this. Like, you can get free writing prompts online, stuff like that, whatever. Like, you don't have to go buy that book, but I personally like the book so far. And then in the last video, I had talked about wanting to set up like a nighttime routine, and one of the things I was thinking to do was to fill in this moon diary that I had, and it just wasn't happening last month, and I didn't really feel it happening at night. I don't think writing at night is gonna fall into my routine just yet, but I have been doing it in the morning, and I actually prefer it in the morning. So I've got this, so I'll do my journal, and then next thing I do is I'll go into this. And so I talked about it last month, how it has like places to put entries like every day of the week, and I'm like, I'm not really sure what to write in these spaces. Like, it's not a lot of room. I don't know if it's meant to be like a planner. It could definitely be used as a planner, but what I've been doing is I've got a lot of videos about like tarot cards and starting to get into astrology. I get the Lunarly box, and I've talked about like liking the feeling of being connected to the moon cycles and trying to use that to get myself on track. And I want to believe in astrology, but I'm so analytic that it's just not, I can't. Like, I can't. I have to have proof. And so, people, like, I have this like little astrology podcast that I listen to in the morning, and they talk about, well, Neptune is here, like talks about the planets and all this stuff, and like, you may be feeling this, you may be feeling that, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't make logical sense to me why like the time that I was born would affect anything about my life right now. But just in case it does, So what I've been doing is basically like, it's kind of a mini journal. Like that other journal is more like you go based on the writing prompts. This is just kind of a mini journal where in the morning I just kind of note, how am I feeling? Am I feeling tired this day? Am I feeling focused? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling like, I don't know exactly what I write every day. I just kind of go into it like thinking about how I'm feeling. And sometimes I'll like make a note about how I ended up feeling the day before, but I'm just trying to get I don't know. I don't know. I just write a little bit of something. Like for instance, Monday the 2nd, I wrote feeling fine, up early, working through my routine, just a little bit tired, not too bad, think today will be good. And then Tuesday, oh, I actually didn't write it Tuesday morning. I wrote it like later. What I wrote, felt okay, pretty unfocused and distracted. So I'm just trying to see like if, you know, they say that the moons and the planets and everything could affect certain things in your life. I'm just kind of writing my moods and everything and how it changes throughout the month on here loosely. I don't know. Anyway, I've been liking this. And then I did like do, at the new moon that happened on the 30th, I went in and did like set my intentions for the month in here. You can do that. And then, yeah, I've just been writing every day. And then, yeah, and then it kind of comes up, talks about the full moon and stuff. So I'll keep going with that. But I've built it into my morning routine instead of my night routine. So this is something else I've been doing. And that's what the moon diary is. And that's down here. And like I said, yeah, I've been doing it almost every day last month. And then another thing I've kind of built in, like I love my mornings. Like I love waking up early and I love having all this time in my mornings just to myself. And I've been doing this at my desk. Like I know I'm rambling a lot, I'm sorry. But yeah, I used to have a morning routine that I would do in the living room. And that's when I would do like my stretches, and then I would kind of like sit on the floor, and I had this little coffee table that I would do all this in there. And I was finding that I was having trouble moving from my morning routine that was kind of like meditating and kind of like working on myself. I was having trouble moving from that phase of the day into like, let's get down to work, let's start working. And so I've started doing all of this here at my desk. So I will sit at my desk and I will do my journal, and I do like a little meditation, and then I move into like this stuff. And that seems to be working because when I'm finished, I'm here at my desk, I get started, so that's another thing that I've done. I think I've been doing it a couple months now. It's been working. But another thing I've done, and I talked about this a little bit last month, that I wanted to start doing this, and this worked out really well for me last month, I think. So this came with my Lunarly box. It's a moon intention journal, and so basically it has little sections for different parts of the moon cycle. So you kind of write down the new moon, and I read last month like what my intention was for this month. It was basically to keep working on building my habits and help me achieve my goals, and I want to be stress-free and all this stuff. And so then at the first quarter moon, it asks you for something different. It's like, okay, well, you set your intentions. Now it's, you've been a week or so into the month. Like what can you do to keep your intentions going? What are 3 specific actions you can do? And so I wrote, be at work by 8 a.m. I've ended up changing that to 9. So I'll talk about that here in a minute. And finish at least 2 hours of work right away, and study at least 1 hour per day. Just try to stick to my habits and keep them going. And then another thing I did, because it had this extra page and I don't really know what to do with it. Like I'm not an artistic type person. I know some people will like draw things, but that's not me. So what I did was, kind of like from the first quarter moon, then you've got like a few days, like a week or so until you get to like the full moon. And so every day I've just been kind of like going in and reflecting on if I'm making progress towards my intentions, how am I feeling about my intentions? Am I making progress towards it? And again, I'm like not being too hard on myself. I'm not setting too many boundaries on what I can and can't write. I just kind of write whatever I feel like. And so, yeah, so I've just been kind of filling this out every day. And then on the full moon, it has like a prompt, you know, what are you ready to release? And then again, and it talks about, you know, kind of the cycle going from the full moon and, you know, what that part of the cycle is supposed to represent. And so I've just, again, just been kind of an extra part of journaling. And so this new moon was the flower moon that started on the 30th. And what I love about this year, the fact that I'm starting it this year, is that it seems like most of the new moons are linking up very close to like the first of the month. And so that's been really useful for me to do this like at the beginning. It not only is it the beginning of the month, it's also the new moon. And so that's been pretty helpful for me. So this is my new intentions for this cycle, which also corresponds pretty much to the month. And here, like I said in the last video, like it sounds like the intentions aren't specifically like you don't set like specific goals. You just kind of like come up with some intentions, I guess. And so, and kind of like, at least this is how I've been doing it. I've just kind of been trying to get in a mindset of how I want the month to go out. Instead of saying like, I want to do this, 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 and this. It's just been kind of like getting in that mindset. So I put here, I finished all my contribution of ag work, schoolwork, GIS work, and the paper I've been working on. I'm waking up early, starting work on time, being productive. I'm eating better, beginning to see physical improvements in my body. I continue to improve and work towards my short and long-term goals. By the time Memorial Day comes, I'm in a good place to actually relax and fully enjoy myself. So that's kind of like the intention that I'm setting. That's what I want to do for this month. That's how I want this month to kind of like work out. And then, yeah, again, so this, and I've been kind of noting, like, okay, so from the new moon, then you're into, like, the waxing crescent because the moon is growing up until it gets to the full moon, or the first quarter moon. And then, yeah, so that'll be this Sunday. I'll fill this out. I'll put, you know, some specific actions that I want to take to meet those kind of, like, broad goals that I've set for myself. And then just kind of work from there. And then I just have like a piece of paper that I just kind of reevaluated my goals. Like I have like just who do I want to be overall? What are my goals for this month? What are my goals for the year? What are my long-term goals, which I have set kind of by the time that I'm 40, and then my like kind of my bigger overall goals. And so yeah, I just kind of look at this every day just to kind of like try to re-inspire myself, I guess, to be working towards those goals. So yeah, I feel like I've got my morning stuff good. I really like doing all this in the morning and filling all that out and kind of thinking about how things are going. So yeah, so that's this moon diary down here. And so I said work by 8 a.m. Waking up at 5, going to the gym, I could totally start working by 8 a.m. But I found that some days I wanted to spend more time meditating or journaling or things like that, and sometimes it was like putting me at a press to start it by 8 a.m. Most days, yeah, but I went ahead and just shifted it an hour back to 9 a.m. because I didn't want anything that I was feeling like a pressure about or anything like that. So yeah, I went ahead and shifted it back to 9 a.m. Some days I do need to be ready by 8 a.m. because I have meetings, but 9 a.m. I think is good for most days. I did a little bit better than the previous month. I had dropped my work down, I think, yeah, I worked 2 hours. I think I did that almost every weekday, but some days I didn't really track it, or I was doing homework, and it was just kind of hard to split up my work and studying, but I feel pretty good about this. Like, my goal for this month is to try to get this. So I've got this now. Now I want to try to get this. And so that's going to be one of my big goals for, like, the rest of this month. So yeah, be at work by a certain time, get a good solid amount of work in. And the studying, my classes are kind of ending, so we'll see how that goes, but I think that's going to be good too. Content, this is not something that I'm trying to fill in every day. I'm just for now, just kind of making note of the days that I do work on like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or anything like that. If I do any amount of something, posting or anything like that, I just will mark it on here. So today I will mark content since I filmed this video. Again, I don't know. I just started tracking when I showered, and yeah, again, it's like I've been showering like every other day, and that's working out pretty well for me. Okay, yeah, last month I had talked about the to-do list and how I felt like I really, even if I don't have like a solid nighttime routine, whenever I finish up work, I need to have like a to-do list for the next day, because it just seems like having a plan for the next day definitely helps, even if it's the weekend. You know, like instead of just waking up and just, what am I going to do today? It's been useful for me to have a to-do list, and I've done that almost every day, like, and that's another thing I want to try to get a little bit more consistent with. Another thing is bed prep. So I'm not journaling or anything like that, but what I'm doing is when I finish with work, like right after I'm done, so like usually it's about 6:30ish, I will like make sure my water pitcher is full for the next day, make sure my clothes are laid out, get the coffee maker ready, so in the morning, like just any little thing that I can think of to help me kind of like get ready for bed and like make sure that I can wake up the next day and just be ready to go. And I've been doing that pretty well every day. Like I said in the last one, I, just noticed myself being a little bit more emotional certain times of the month, and I just wanted to kind of track it just to see like like what times of the month I'm more emotional or not, and whether it has something to do with like stress or anxiety, or whether it has to do with like things going on, or if it's just certain times of the month I'm more emotional. So yeah, I feel like this was a good month. And there, like, my period happened here, so you can definitely see there was like emotional days around my period. For some reason this day I put like an extra blue square around it, because I mean this day was like just music that wasn't even like sad. This was like my most like just emotional day. And I mean there's been stuff going on, like I've got like relationship stuff, there's some it's complicated sort of stuff going on, so some of it was like relationship stuff, but yeah, I definitely, so that's another thing I've started doing is like on days that, especially with kind of this emotional or kind of mental type stuff that I'm trying to track, I've been like marking it down if I notice things. I don't know, maybe I should do like a 1 to 10 scale to kind of like track it a little better, because like especially on some of these distracted days, like some days I'm like, I feel pretty distracted, but I'm not sure if I'm really that distracted. So I've been kind of like making like extra bold squares around the days that I'm like, oh yeah, compared to these other days that I thought I was distracted, no, this day I was really distracted. It happens to coincide with my cry day, so I don't know. But yeah, and then the same thing with the brain fog. Like I'd had these kind of brain fog days where I felt like a little bit I don't know if it was even brain fog, but just like a little bit fatigued. And I'm definitely now noticing difference between like kind of brain fog fatigue days and like distracted days, because I'm really getting a better feel for like my emotions and my moods by doing this. So yeah, I kind of split out the distraction and the brain fog. And then if I thought I had brain fog some days, but I knew like this next day, I'm like, no, this is definitely worse. I put like a box around it. So I don't know. This may evolve. Like, yeah, maybe I could do like a rating system, but I don't know. Anyway, this is how I'm doing it. This day I just, I wanted to track like when I was feeling the urge to do shopping, I think this may have been one of those days, because I had talked before about how I have certain days that I just feel like this uncontrollable urge to shop. Like, I don't even need anything. There's not an ad like prompting me to buy something. I just want to buy something. Like, I want to fill a void or something. Like, I don't know. And I think this day was that. This was before I started doing like the bold box thing. I think that's what that star means. But yeah, so any days that I bought something, I just marked that. And then looky here, I started doing my meal tracking finally. That's been something I've been wanting to try to do like all year. And I finally started doing it. And I think one thing that's helped is, so I wasn't dieting at all. I was eating whatever I wanted still, but I was like putting it into MyFitnessPal. And one thing that helped me to do that was I was trying not to be a perfectionist. Like, I think I try too hard to be a perfectionist. I'm like, I want to track it. It needs to be perfect. How much of this did I have? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, just put down something close. Don't take too much time like trying to get exactly the calories. Just get something close in there. So there was like a few times that I went out to eat with my roommate and I would get something at a restaurant and I didn't want to look up like what exactly it is, which it's helping now that MyFitnessPal, sometimes you can search a restaurant and it'll bring up like that restaurant's menu and it does have everything on there. But even like a local restaurant, I'll just look up something close to it. Like he gets Asian food at this kind of local Asian restaurant and he'll bring the leftovers home. And so I would eat those, but I would just log whatever something is similar, you know, like steak and vegetables and, you know, or whatever. I would eat his vegetables or he would bring stuff home and I would eat his sweet potato. And so I would just try to track something close. Even if it's not perfect, I'm like, whatever, just track it. And so, yeah, look, I got pretty good at it. And I think that's going to help me. Again, if I do want to do the bodybuilding thing, this is definitely going to help me like being in a habit of tracking my meals. Another thing that's helped is, yes, I have been getting those purple carrot microwave meals. That helped. And I also came across a sale, like a special deal on Factor, which looked similar to the purple carrot. They had a vegan option, so I thought I'd give that a try. It was like a huge like discount on it. And so I've been getting those for the last 2 weeks. And yeah, just like having something to microwave to fix really quick and easy to track because you put them in MyFitnessPal. I think almost all of them so far. I think with the purple carrot and this. The purple carrot, I think I had to actually put them physically in MyFitnessPal, but it had the nutrition information on the thing. And these Factor ones, I think so far they've all been in there. So I haven't had to enter them myself. So that's made meal tracking a lot easier. And I've been eating a lot of like the same things over again. Like my roommate literally, he gets in these phases where he'll eat the same thing every day. And so whenever I have his leftovers or like his, you know, whatever, sometimes he'll bring like an extra salad home and it's been like the same thing. It's been pretty consistently. I've been eating the same thing almost every day outside of like those different meals. So I'll have like oranges or, you know, this or that. And when you log it in oh God, I'm rambling so much, but whatever. Whenever you log it into MyFitnessPal, it'll save some of the ones you've had before. So I'm like, all right, I've already had this yogurt this week. It's already in here. There you go. And so it's made it easier and something has finally clicked into me to where I'm able to log stuff every day. So I'm pretty happy about that. So that was really long and, but that's how last month went and I'm pretty happy with it. And, I tried to track some like other things, but I can't even remember like what this stuff is up here. Like I know the P's are my period. I said I was going to try to track the days that I was extra thirsty, but I felt like I was thirsty on a few days, but I feel like this day was like one of those extra thirsty days. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to do that again. If I feel something like feels extra on a certain day, I might try to make a note. I need to make like a legend of what the stuff means because I've kind of forgotten like what is this CR CR, what is that? I don't remember. But I'll try to do better at like making myself like a legend. Another thing too, oh yeah, that I did this month is I get a lot of ideas to do things, and I have a tendency to let that distract me because I'm like, oh, I want to do this right now. But then I'm like, no, you need to do your work or you need to study. So instead of like jumping in on those ideas, I just wrote them on the back here. So I'm like, all right, I've got them down on my paper, on my tracker, which I will keep. So when I do have free time to like, most of these are content ideas, or just things I want to do in the future. And so I just kind of like randomly noted them on the back here. So it's kind of like, all right, they're out of my brain, but they're there. So whenever I have time, I will come back to those. So that was one thing I did here. But I guess move on to this month. So I will say I had high hopes, really high hopes going into this month. Like I wanted this month to be perfect, and so far it's just felt off. I'm gonna be honest. From the new moon till now, it's just felt a little bit off. I was still able to do most of this. I missed my moon diary that one day because I had like some work stuff. I had a work meeting, and I didn't have time to get that in, and I didn't end up coming back to it. But for the most part, I think it's been pretty good, and I feel like that kind of off feeling that I feel like it's getting over it. So I'm hoping that by like this weekend that I can kind of get myself together and kind of recharge, and then jump into next week and just have like kind of the rest of the month be really good. But not bad so far, I would say. So I've been doing the 5 a.m. The only day was Sunday. I woke up at 8. I changed my walk from 7,000 steps to 1 hour because I'm like, I want to go to the gym. I want to walk for 1 hour. I don't care how many steps I get. However many steps I get in an hour, that's what I'm doing. I kind of combined the thrusters, planks, and squats into one because I do all 3 of those every day. So that's just 1 instead of 3. Plants, my journal, my moon diary I already showed. I, work by 9 a.m. So far, so good. And so I split my work because before I had work for 2 hours straight, and I've split my work up into 2 different, these are kind of like my main projects going on at work right now. And I feel like I just wanted to work an hour on those every day because I feel like if I spend an hour at least working on each of these every day, I have a tendency to like switch all the way to one project and kind of like leave the other project behind. And then I'm always like coming back and forth between the projects. I'm like, if I spend at least an hour every day working on each project, and then after that hour, then I can work a little bit more on whichever one I need to work more on. It's just kind of keeping myself focused on both at the same time. So I'm not just like putting one off to the side and then coming back to it after like a week or 2 and like having to remember like everything with that project. And just putting it at an hour, again, it's one of those things that kind of helps my mental block. I'm like, okay, if I just work on this an hour, that's doable. I can do it. Let's do it. And so that's what I've been doing. Studying's getting a little bit weird because my class is starting to end. Really, I should have worked on it an hour today, but it just, like I said, it's been an off week, and so I have like one final paper due in this class that's due on Sunday, and so I said, you know what, let me get everything else together, and then I can put all my focus onto that paper tomorrow. And so that's my plan for Saturday, is to get that paper as finished as I can and get it turned in. But like I said, like this has been like the change of my life for studying. Like my whole life, I've done well in school, but it's been doing well under stress and anxiety like the whole way. I swear, every semester, thank goodness semesters are short, because every semester, by the end of the semester, I'm so stressed out. I feel like I'm so behind, and I feel like, but I get it done. But I'm one of those that always puts the stuff off to the last minute. And every semester, I'm just so stressed out by the end. And I tell myself, never again. This next semester, this is going to be the one that I get it together. And I'm not going to let myself get behind. I'm not going to get stressed. And every semester, I would do it again. I would start the semester out like a rock star. And that's what I would tell my roommate, because he's thinking, he didn't go to college, or he went like one semester. But I tell him, I'm like, the way I got through school, I think, was I would be so ready, like, for the semester to start. Be like, yes, I'm excited for this semester. I'm excited for my classes. So, like, the first month, I would do so well. Like, I would study, and I would be on it, and I would be focused, and I would do so well in my classes that first month that I think a lot of the teachers would give me the benefit of the doubt, like, later on in the semester when I would start to fall off. I really felt like this because, and I remember specifically in this one class, when I was in undergrad, they gave us our test back, and somebody was like complaining. They were like, oh, I wrote this and she counted it wrong, something like that. And I was like thinking, I wrote the same thing, but it was, she gave me the points on it. And I was like, she must think that I know it without like going into detail. You know, she must just assume that you know what I mean? Like, if you do really well in the beginning of a class, I think the teachers get in their mind that you're a good student and you're smart and you know things, and they kind of give you some leeway later on in the semester if you're not doing as well, because they just assume you're smart. And I feel like that's gotten me through a lot of classes, because I would do really well at the beginning of the semester, and then by the end I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I want to kill myself. But yeah, this is like the first semester that I feel like I've got it. Like, I finally feel like I'm able to study. I feel like I'm doing the best in the class. I'm the first one to finish like the discussion post that we've had, and I've turned in my assignments early. Like, sorry, but like, I'm like, is this how like the good students feel? Like, it feels so good to finally have it together and be ahead. Like, I know that I'm putting this assignment off to the last minute, but I've already worked on it. Like, I've already started it last weekend or the weekend before. Like, I worked ahead, so I don't feel that much stress. I haven't finished it yet, but I think I can finish it on Saturday, and that's my plan, is to finish it Saturday even though it's due on Sunday. And I feel so good, and I'm actually really looking forward to, I only have 2 classes left to finish up in terms of coursework, to finish up my PhD. And it's unfortunate that I've made it this far, and it's just been stressful the whole time, and I'm finally getting it together at the very end. But it's giving me hope that, like, okay, if I can get it together for these classes, maybe my dissertation will not be that bad if I can get all these good habits of consistently studying. Because I've been dreading my dissertation. I've just been like, oh my god, this is going to be so bad. I'm not going to... I don't know, but I actually have hope now that I can finish the dissertation and finish my PhD, and it's not just going to be extremely stressful. Like, I've always thought, like, I'll finish this, you know, like, you'll get it done. But I just had in my mind that it was just going to be terrible. It was going to be a terrible another year or two of just, like, dragging myself through it and having just a high level of stress and anxiety. But I think I've got it. I think I've got it now. So I'm feeling pretty good about the studying. Again, I've got the content thing down there, so I'll go ahead and mark this today because I filmed this video. Yeah, and then like I said, I've got the bed prep, the to-do list, meal tracking. So far so good. I am adding in a little bit of a diet component. So obviously the name of my channel is Plant Fit Leah, and I have gone through phases where I've been like very strictly vegan, and then there's times where I've been kind of like mostly vegan, and then I would kind of let myself slip. Like, I just don't like to waste food, and my roommate like wastes a lot of food, and so there's been times that I've eaten non-vegan because he will just have leftovers or whatever, and I've told myself, like, no, and that's another reason, like, I think there's another video where I was trying on these workout clothes and I'm like, you know what? I'm on the verge of needing a bigger size, but I'm kind of at my biggest size right now, and I don't want to like buy all new clothes and then lose weight. And I think one of the reasons is I've been eating his leftovers, and he will bring home like a whole loaf of bread from Longhorn. He'll go get like a steak and he'll bring home like a whole loaf of bread, and I would eat like this loaf of bread every night. And so that's one thing I put down. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat his leftovers anymore. I'm definitely gonna stick to being vegan. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, give in if he has leftovers, and I'm really going to try to get back on track with that and eating healthier, because he was bringing home like cakes and stuff and like just things that are not healthy, and I want to try to eat as healthy as I can. Like, I'm not gonna, again, kind of like I've been doing with all of this, I'm not gonna like feel like I'm restricting myself too much, but whereas sticking to the diet is sticking to eating my vegan food and not getting tempted to, like, if he goes to Sonic, be like, hey, pick me up some tater tots, you know, or something like that. I want to try to stick to being vegan. The one thing that I'm not sticking to is I go back and forth between drinking sodas and not drinking sodas, and I feel like a soda is like my little treat sometimes. Some days I drink one, some days I won't, but I've got like some of the little mini, like the smaller ones, and I'm not gonna like limit myself on that, because that's my addiction. Some people are addicted to alcohol, some people are addicted to, you know, whatever things. For me, it's been soda for all these years. Eventually I would like to get off of it, but it's kind of like one of those things that keeps me going throughout the day. I won't have it in the morning, but like, you know, a couple hours into the day, if I start to feel like tired, I can't focus at work, I will drink a soda. One of those mini sodas. So, and I recycle the can, so I don't feel too bad about that. But anyway, eventually that's something I want to work on, but for now it's just, as long as I'm tracking my food and trying to stick to my diet, eating these, you know, microwave meals that I've been getting for this month, that's going to be a win for me. I've had a little bit of shopping going on the beginning of this month, but it wasn't like the uncontrollable shopping. It's just kind of like I felt like it, but it looked like that happened a little bit at the beginning of last month too. And this was the day that like was pretty bad for me. So hopefully I can kind of reel that in for the rest of this month. But yeah, I've been shopping online a little bit this month. I separated out this distracted column into scrolling distractions, you know, I guess social media distractions, or just like feeling. So this is more, again, like I said, I've been trying to get more in tune of like my moods and my emotions and what's going on in my head. I think there's a difference between scrolling distraction and like this. I think they may overlap though, but like this is more like distracted to the point that I just literally like cannot focus. It's not just that I'm on my phone. There's some days that I'm not looking at my phone, but I need to sit down and focus on my work or something, and I just feel like I just cannot do it. Like, it's such a struggle to me, and I feel like I just can't sit down and focus. And so this day was really bad for me, and so I put that extra boxer in it. Like, I realized I was really like just anxious a little bit, and just, I don't know, that the brain fog has been pretty good so far. And then the crying and the showering. So, and by crying, it's not like, I don't know. It's just like, if I cry at any point during the day over anything, I mark down the crying. So, again, that's just another thing that I'm like tracking. So, yeah, I have some pretty high hopes for this month. Like I said, I feel like the beginning of the month I felt a little bit off, and it was kind of hard to really get into it, but my goal is like this week to get this studying stuff knocked out. This class will be over. I've actually signed up for some extra classes because I'm just feeling the studying a lot right now. So I finished a GIS class through the school, but then there's a free 6-week online course that they were offering, the company that kind of puts together all the GIS stuff. And so I'm doing that, and it's been pretty easy. I've been keeping up with it. I'm on the 4th section out of 6 right now, and you know, it's just like an hour or two a week that I spend just kind of keeping up, expanding my GIS skills. So I like that. And in my class that I'm taking, my current class, it's a sustainability related class, and uh, they brought up something, this Inroads like climate simulator, and so I kind of got on that website and I realized that they have like I don't remember how many weeks. I think it's like an 8-week program that kind of teaches you about this climate simulator and how to use it and how to explain it and everything. And I thought, you know what, this is interesting. It could help me in the future. It's free, so I kind of looked over their plan, you know, their learning plan or whatever, and I signed up for that. And so that starts on the 16th, I think. So I'll finish up that GIS in the next couple of weeks, which is super easy. And then that thing starts on the 16th, which it doesn't seem like it's going to take that much time out of my day. So that'll be kind of like my studying going on for the rest of the month. And then I start my summer class. So we'll see how that goes. I start that like somewhere down here at the end of the month. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Also, I had such a good time on my trip to Eureka Springs when I had just taken, we had a long weekend for spring break, and so I took that day off to have a long weekend and go to Eureka Springs, and I am going to do that again for Memorial Day weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, I booked a cabin. Again, not the same one. I would have totally booked the same one, but it wasn't available. But I found this other one. I'm not sure how this one's gonna go because they don't have Wi-Fi. They had Wi-Fi at the other one. They don't have Wi-Fi at this one. Don't have cable, so it really will be kind of like just a unplugged sort of weekend. But I think that'll be good. I think that's what I need. And so, yeah, I really want to work hard the rest of this month to get caught up with work and everything that I need to do so I can relax that weekend. I had such a good time that spring break weekend, and I just want to kind of relive that again. So, anyway, oh my gosh, this is like almost an hour, but yeah, that's just kind of a recap of how last month went, and hopefully I can keep up the progress for this month. I will put a link to this tracker in the description. I didn't make this. I found this online for free. I really like how this is set up. It's working pretty well for me. So yeah, I'll put a link to this in the description, and I'll give another update at the end of the month to see how things are going.